I'm Stevie Hahn, real estate agent here in Jacksonville, Florida. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 10 ways to get your offer accepted in this seller's market. If you're thinking about purchasing a property, this video is for you. This morning, I had shared on my Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn a post sharing with everyone the 10 ways. It was short and sweet, and I felt compelled to come on here and to chat with you and to dive in deeper on these 10 ways. It's really important. This is the most competitive real estate market that the US has ever seen. So I feel as though if you're looking to purchase, you need every advantage you can get. Before we dive into these 10 ways, I wanted to start this video off by mentioning that when you put in an offer on a property, it is so much more than the offer price. Even if you're offering over list price, there's so many other terms to be negotiated, and we're going to talk about that. It is not like HGTV, where the real estate agent is calling the listing agent with that offer. It is nothing like that at all. We are actually drafting up the purchase and sale agreement, which is laying out every single term with the transaction, and that includes the earnest money deposit amount, the type of loan that you're doing, down payment amount, literally all the dates of all the events throughout the entire process. And we are going to be discussing all of those things with your offer and presenting that, and it's multiple pages. So it's just so much more than just putting in that offer. Let's dive into the first way to get your offer accepted, and that is to get out to the property first and get that offer in. First of all, you don't want to miss the chance to even preview the property, considering how crazy the real estate market is. Properties are going very quickly. So you need to be aggressive. You need to get out there. Don't wait the weekend and see if it's still available on Monday, because it's likely that it won't be. There have been times in the past where we got out to the property first, we got that offer in immediately, and I was able to get them to sign and to move forward with us. But there is no obligation to the seller. Even though you were the first one to view, the first offer to get in, there is no obligation to the seller to accept your offer. What's really popular right now in our real estate market is they are doing multiple offers. They're waiting it out. They might wait 24 hours, they might wait 48 hours, wait a week, and wait over the weekend. There is no standard for this. And they might do a multiple offer disclosure, have everyone do their highest and best. I'm sure that you've heard that this is really popular right now, but getting in there first is only going to be beneficial for you and to show the seller how serious you are. Reason number 2, offer above list price. I'm sure you knew that. Of course, offering more money than what the seller is asking is really beneficial, but there is something else to include with your offer, and that is an escalation clause. So let me break down to you what an escalation clause is. So I'm going to use this as an example to make it super simple. Let's say that in your contract, in your offer, you want to offer $300,000, but we are also going to include this clause, the escalation clause, which basically states, I'm going to use this example, that you are willing to pay $1,000 more than the highest offer, because we're in a multiple offer situation, right? And you're willing to offer $1,000 above the highest bid. But there's a cap. Like we gotta cap this. So let's say we put on there $320,000. So let me break that down again. The escalation clause is, let's say we put our initial offer in of $300,000, but the escalation of willing to pay $1,000 above the highest bid, but we are going to cap it at $320,000. So this just is a really great aggressive way to putting in offers that is really popular right now to show the seller initially how high you are willing to go and pay above the highest bid. So escalation clauses are what everyone's doing right now. Number 3, be open to an appraisal gap. Now let me break this down for you, the basics on the appraisal. So the lender, because you're doing financing, and the lender is paying for an appraiser to go out to the property to assess their opinion of value on the home. So essentially what they're looking at is what has recently sold within the last 6 months that is comparable to this subject property. They're also looking at the condition of the home as well and all the upgrades, and they let the lender know how much they think that property is worth. Because at the end of the day, the lender is lending you all this money, right? And it is a risk for them. So they want to make sure that, especially in this crazy seller's market, that the property is worth that actual amount. A buyer can only get loan approval up to that appraised value. So when I say to offer an appraisal gap, it means that you're willing to pay more than what the property is worth, more money than what the lender is willing to lend you. And this is cash that you would pay at closing. So you would put into your initial offer, example, I'm willing to offer $300,000, but in the event that the home does not appraise at our purchase price / contract price, that I am willing to pay up to a $5,000 appraisal difference or a $10,000 difference. So in the event the home does not appraise, that you are going to be bringing to closing this cash difference. Sure, as you can imagine, very appealing for a seller to receive more money than what their home is worth. Number 4, beef up your earnest money deposit amount. Typically, the earnest money deposit amount is 1% of the purchase price. So $300,000 property, you're doing about a $3,000 earnest money deposit. Now, what I mean by beefing up your earnest money deposit is essentially offering a couple $1,000s more, $2,000, and this money is owed within the first 3 days of going under contract. It's held at the title company where you'll be closing, and it is applied towards your purchase price or down payment. It's case by case, but this just shows the seller how serious you are and how much you are willing to risk. Number 5, get pre-approved by a local lender. I can't even stress this enough, no matter what real estate market that we are in. And the reason why is real estate agents, we work with local lenders, people that we communicate with on a daily basis, and they are people that we know, we like, we trust, and we know are going to help you make this process seamless, and they're going to educate you and hold your hand throughout the entire process. There's a lot of big name lenders out there, Quicken Loans, Rocket Loans, where they don't know the real estate agent or you from Adam, and they are likely not to provide you with the best experience. They usually are just so overwhelmed with volume, and it's just, I've never had a good experience in those situations. My local lenders, I get no kickback whatsoever with you using them, besides the reassurance that this process is going to be seamless and you're going to have a really good experience. But they want to make sure that I'm happy and that my clients are happy, and that way I provide them with more clients, more business for them. So they want to make sure that you're having the best experience. And other real estate agents like to see, like, hey, this is great. They are using their preferred lender and not one of these other big box lenders, and it just makes them feel better about accepting your offers. Number 6, offer to pay the seller's expenses, their moving expenses. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to dive in super deep on this. I mean, wouldn't you love to have your moving truck paid for or some of your closing costs? Number 7, defer closing terms and timeline 100% to the seller. So an example of something that you could do is to reach out to the listing agent and find out when is an ideal closing date for this seller. You could cater this date around their plans and their schedule. So if they're building a property, and let's say typically with financing you can close in about 30 days, but let's say that they need 45 days or 60 days, and that would be ideal for them. You want to know that so that you can put that into your initial offer. Or something else that we have done is, a lot of people are building. New construction is huge here in Northeast Florida, and a lot of times sellers have to sell right away in order to buy. But a great option for them, so they don't have to move twice, is that they will sell their house, they will close on it. That buyer will be the owner of the home, but that new owner is now the landlord, and they allowed that person, to the past seller, to live in the home and rent it back for them until their new construction home is available. So if that's something that works out with your schedule as well, and that would work for the seller, provide that information to them. Figure out what is important to them so you can cater your offer to their liking. Number 8, waive the inspection contingency. So this can be a little bit tricky. Let me break down the basics. So in the contract, you have, in Northeast Florida anyways, is a 10-day home inspection contingency period, where within the first 10 days of going under contract, you, the buyer, have the opportunity to get that home inspector out there, that WDO inspector, pool inspector, septic, whatever the case is, within these 10 days and get all of those reports. And you have the opportunity to present this to a repair request to the seller along with the reports. And you can ask the seller and negotiate for them to cover a couple of these repair items. And something that you could do to be aggressive is to say, hey, I'm willing to take the property as is. So essentially, you could still go in and do all these inspections, but you are disclosing to the seller ahead of time that you're willing to take this property as is. And this is very appealing to a seller because they're already moved on to their next spot. They do not want to put any more money into this property. They're trying to max out and get as much as they possibly can. And the 10-day home inspection contingency period protects your earnest money deposit. So this money that you put down within the first 3 days, the inspection period protects that. So that if you go in and you do the inspection reports, whether or not the property is being sold as is, and you decide to back out within those 10 days, you have the opportunity to get that earnest money deposit back. If you change your mind, or you can't come into agreement with the repairs, or it's just too many repairs for you to handle or to take on, that you have the opportunity to get that earnest money deposit back. Now, a way to be really aggressive is to say, hey, I am not going to put that contingency in, so if I decide to back out within the first 10 days, well, seller, you get to keep that deposit that I gave you. Number 9 is to eliminate the financing contingency. So even though you've spoken with a local lender and you have received a pre-approval, that does not mean that you have the loan. You still have to go through this whole 30-day process. You have to go through underwriting, end up ultimately being able to get that earnest money deposit back. But if you remove the financing contingency, that allows the seller to keep that deposit. It's appealing to a seller because it's willing, you are basically saying that you are willing to forfeit this money if you don't ultimately end up getting the loan. Number 10, the last way to get your offer accepted in the seller's market is to put down a larger down payment or pay cash. With cash, you have the opportunity to close within 2 weeks, super quick close, there's no financing contingency period. It's very appealing for a seller. But let's say that you don't have the cash to purchase the property. It is appealing to put down a larger down payment. With the FHA loan, it's only 3.5% of the purchase price. And with a conventional loan, there are 3% and 5% options. So it's not that much that you're putting down. When you're putting down more cash, it shows more financial stability to the seller. An agent can help you break these down for you. Of course, I would love the opportunity if you're here local in Jacksonville or St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra Beach area. I would love the opportunity to figure out which one of these ways makes sense for you and your family. I know right now that purchasing a property can feel a little overwhelming, or maybe you're feeling intimidated, but all you need is a savvy agent and a little creativity. If you're looking to purchase a property here in Northeast Florida, I'm serving the Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra Beach area. I would love to be a resource for you, so don't hesitate to reach out to me anytime, and hope you have a great day.